So there's a brand new 2024 Indonesian horror film. It is a prequel called Dancing Village, The Curse Begins, and this is the third film in the, KKN. That's the first three letters, and then I don't know how to read the rest. Series, so there's two other films, but I can't find them.
We have not seen them.
I can't find them anywhere online to watch. So, I don't know what to do about that, but because this was a prequel, I was like, well, it'll probably be alright to watch the prequel.
Yeah.
Right? There are prequels where you absolutely should have seen the other movies for it to make sense, right? Paranormal Activity 2 or 3, stuff like that, where it's it wouldn't work as well without having seen the others. So, if you've seen the others, definitely let us know how much this plays in to that and how much we missed because we don't know from the other film. I'll say this, while we were watching it, I didn't have any moments where I was thinking that probably ties into another movie or I'm kind of lost on what's happening here. Maybe that's a reference to something. No, it all felt just a pretty traditional, straightforward film.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know how connected the other two are to this one. I'm assuming it takes place in the same village, and this is just the setup for the other films because it's a prequel. Anyway, so this is about a woman named Mina, and Mina takes her cousin and a couple of his friends, and of course they're from the big city.
Of course.
And they're going to a little village. Because that's what every Indonesian or Southeast Asian horror movie does. Every fucking one of them.
Definitely a trope.
It's a trope, for sure. They go there to return this bangle because the shaman told them to. And there's this, curse on the village. And, there's these ceremonies where these women dance for some kind of demon, and when they pick the one woman they want out of the dancing people, they have to spend eternity dancing forever. To some people that probably sounds like a pretty good time.
Yeah.
I know some people who love to dance, that's all they want to do, and they're like, dance for eternity? Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Overall, okay, so first things first, as always, the other big trope with Indonesian horror films is they're always 2+ hours long, and they just don't need to be. They're never warranted. I've talked about this plenty of times. I mean, Midsommar is 3 hours long, and I love every second of it. It doesn't matter how long the film is. It's whether or not the story warrants the length. And these stories are always just very basic stories that just don't need 2 hours. They could have done this movie in an hour and a half and it would be the same freaking film. So I don't know why they want to make them so much longer, because that adds to production cost and filming time, right? Because you're making a film longer, it needs to film longer, and
Yeah.
I don't see any reason for it. Especially with this one, there's so many repetitious things, and then there's characters that don't even seem like they need to be a part of this. Like the guys that she comes with are kind of useless. They don't really do anything in the movie. So their inclusion is really just kind of I don't know, and then their fates and everything. I can't really get into spoilers, but it all just kind of seems that just seems like added filler that doesn't even need to be there. So that's where you could cut off some time. Overall, it's fine. It's just a very straightforward, kind of generic film that looks good. The acting is good. It looks like every Indonesian horror film we've ever watched. It has a very similar plot. All the scares and all the things all pretty much feel the same. There's nothing that really makes this one stand out outside of the gimmick of the dancing demon thing. And that's about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the guys that are in this don't feel like they have much purpose to me as far as the story goes. So I do agree with you. I think that they needed some more development, in my opinion. I really liked the setting of this, though. There's some old temples or old buildings that are used.
Sets are nice.
I thought were very cool looking and really atmospheric. And it's like set in the middle of this like forest jungle area, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it okay. It's not like my favorite, Indonesian horror movie that we've seen. I also have noticed that in a lot of like Southeast Asian horror movies, there's a like like a demon or entities or something associated with like extreme beauty. Like it's kind of villainized, and I feel like I don't see a lot of that in Western horror. There's definitely still like gnarly looking stuff in those, in Southeast Asian horror movies, of course. Like that's definitely one thing that I actually really like is the like the practical effects, like the makeup effects on people, like the context that they use and everything. I think
body horror.
Yeah, the body horror is really good. But I've just noticed that there's a trend, and I'm assuming it has to do with like folklore or something of that nature, but having like beautiful women that are evil. You know what I mean? And it's just not something that I see a lot in Western horror movies. I feel like, I mean, I'm sure there's examples that exist, of course, but I don't know. It seems
the neon demon.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, especially in traditional like I don't want to say possession, but demonic devils, like that realm of things, typically there's not a beautiful or handsome or like attractive person, that's representative of the evil.
Yeah.
It's usually just like when they're corrupted, they physically show that as well.
Sure, I mean the Deadites in Evil Dead aren't fuckable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, they're alluring, as to where most demonic possession movies, like, they look like Reagan, or they look like, it's not appealing at all, especially since Reagan's like 12. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. You're right. The setting of the village, it's a cooler looking village because it feels so worn and so lived in and so real. And the other ones kind of more features like either just like long sweeping jungle looking like locations, or like shanties. And this one has more, as you said, like temples and buildings that look degraded and old. That's an added element that's cool. It adds to the aesthetic of it. But yeah, I felt that the story was a tad confusing at times because of the way they go about telling it. And there's something to do with lineage and the story there and how that went down and how it's connected to now. I was kind of like, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a few things that I was a little confused on too.
Yeah.
So.
Which I'm sure, if it's something you really like and you watch it a few times, you'd have no problem piecing anything together. And if you're like really, really paying attention, but I don't know, these films just feel so, they feel like they're on autopilot a lot, and so do I. That like, and because they are subtitled, and because you're trying to keep up with everything and read everything, and then you're losing some things because you're trying to pay attention to everything going on, and you look down, you miss little things, and then that translation barrier, I don't know, it takes away from it somewhat. And when the plot gets a little convoluted with all of those other elements working against you, it gets a bit much. And so with this one, that's the case. I just kind of felt lost in certain moments, but in the end, I didn't feel like, wait, what just happened? Like, I totally got everything that happened in the end. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm super confused on what happened. I'm not. It's just in the moments when they were happening, I was kind of like trying to catch up. And that took away from my experience, because when you're sitting there trying to put the pieces together, you're like, wait, who's who now? And where's that person now? Like, when you do that and you're lost, you can't just focus on the story at hand, because you're trying to backtrack in your head, and then you're trying to piece pieces together from like characters, and you're like, wait, which one's this again? is she related to this one or that one? Mm-hmm. And wait, what happened with her in her past? Like, when you start getting into that place in your head, then you start really losing dialogue because you're really trying to start piecing people together.
Yeah.
And then you just start, like, getting lost in the shuffle.
Totally.
And that's what kind of happened here. But then in the end, it's pretty simplistic. So it's like, I think I get most of it. There's probably still a couple things that I'm like, I'm not 100% sure on. But for the most part, I'm feeling fine. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just bad storytelling or if it's my attention span or it's my commitment to the film because of how blah I am on it during the experience. Or I feel like it's a storytelling issue because I don't feel like I ever have those problems in movies that have like really good, well-structured storytelling beats.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, that's that. Dancing Village. Do I have any intention or desire to watch the KKN movies now? I mean, if they came onto Shudder, if they were there now and I could watch them, and this was fresh in my mind like it is right now, would I watch them? Yeah, probably. Will I seek them out? Probably not. If they show up soon, would I watch them? Yes. If they show up in the future, like months or years from now, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So, yeah, definitely let us know if you've seen the other ones and what your favorite Indonesian horror films are and what you thought about this one. And other than that, we'll see you in the comments. All right.